Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we are checking out Lazer Beam Knives. These are all new knives that are absolutely laser beams, like super slicey knives. And we're going to start it off with the Migron Vacor. And this has a super slicey. This is the most sliceyest and lightest weight knife yet from Migron. This thing almost weighs nothing. I'm not sure the exact weight, but it is basically nothing because they milled out the G10 and there's no liners except for the little tiny liner right there. And they milled out all the G10. So this thing is paper light. And then when you add this very thinly ground, beautiful flat ground drop point blade with a beautiful sharp control and plunge grind in 14C28N. It's just so lightweight, very snappy action, very easy to deploy and get out into action. This is going to be something that is going to work for the majority of users. I mean, this is going to be such a slicey, you can use it in any direction, and being this blade shape, it's going to be super versatile with just about anything you throw at it. Obviously, being as lightweight as it is, you're not going to want to hard use it. Like I could probably snap it in half if I really wanted to, maybe. But either way, that's actually the benefits to it, because that's also what's going to make it, one, you're not going to feel it in your pocket, and two, it's going to cut even when it's dull because it's so slicey. The blade stock thickness is 85 thousandths. The behind the edge thickness is 10 thousandths. That is so slicey, and 14C28N was made for blades like this. They were made for super thin geometry. It's a super tough steel, and so this is going to work great. TA hardware all the way around, deep carry clip that's not reversible. That's the one negative I have for it, is that it's an ambidextrous knife. They should have done a left-hand side, but all in all, this one's a banger, guys. This is an amazing knife, and I bet you, knowing Migron, this is very affordable. Like, this could potentially be like the new best bang for your buck gift knife, or best bang for your buck knife, period, because who doesn't like a super slicey knife like that? Next is from Petrified Fish, and we have two different versions of the pate. Now, the pate is in 14C28N once again with a super slicey sheep's foot blade. Let's measure this one. This one is 82 thousandths blade stock thickness. That is so thin. Let's see how close they are in comparison. Yeah, they're about the same. Let me go all the way back to the oh, you know what? I should have measured back here. Back there, it's 86. If you go to the cut, where the cutting spine is, 79. So it just depends on where you measure, but they're similar enough. Let's check the edge. 10 thousandths once again. Very thin, man. And these are liner locks that are redonkulously smooth. Like, unbelievably smooth. Holding enough knives, you get used to very light blades and just not being drop shutty. So when you get something this light that just drops like this, it's interesting. It feels unique. The detent is light. I can definitely tell that, but that's also what leads to this incredible action. Because this is such a slim, lightweight, nicely contoured knife that, it's so easy to get to the thumb studs. It just naturally feels really good, reverse flick or thumb flick. So having the light detent just makes it that much more fidget friendly, and obviously is what adds to it being drop shutty. The carbon fiber is an amazing cut. They did a really good job with the finish work on this and just picking out a good cut. This does have liners that are inset. We'll check it out on the wood version. But they're very thin, very lightweight. Again, this is super lightweight, something that you're not going to notice in your pocket. The one big negative I have, because the sharp control and plunge grind is great on this because it's so thin behind the edge that that's a lot of life. But the one big negative is no clip. No clip. It does come with this leather lanyard, but I'd prefer a clip. Either way, I think it's really cool. The only other thing I could say is maybe if it had a pocket sheath, but this one's a stonewash finish. This one's the satin. This one's my favorite of the two. It's got a nice little shield right there with the Petrified Fish. All in all, oh, yeah, stainless steel backspacer. All in all, super snappy, very lightweight, very sleek, very slim. This is a in my opinion, pretty cool little gentleman's knife or something, you know, just for somebody that wants, you know, a nice light duty knife that's going to be precision oriented, but no clip. So you're going to have to carry it down the pocket, or, which I wouldn't do with that, I would put it in a sheath. Now this next one is from Waxed Wing Knives. Now here's the thing. These are handmade knives for like $120. Yes, let me say that again. Handmade knives for $120. They are in nitro V steel and have super duper slicey blades. Let's measure the thickness on this one. Look at that. Holy cow, we're getting thin. I did not plan for these to be thinner and thinner. I did not do that. Very, very thin geometry. Let's measure behind the edge thickness. My goodness. No, that can't be right. Wow. 8 thousandths behind the edge. Holy moly. That is crazy. About 10 thousandths on that one. So slicey. These are very lightweight though, once again. Kydex sheaths, we'll talk about those in a second. This is a full 4-finger knife. It's tight, but I can get it. And it is very grippy G10 with lots of layers. Look at that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers with the color combo, and then this milling adds like a golf ball texture to it. Pinch grips are going to be phenomenal with this. Really, any grip is going to be, but being that it's such a light duty knife that, man, you're gonna be using it for like skinning and utility cuts and opening things up. Basically, the majority of what knives are used for is something this is gonna be great for. Perfect sharpening tool and plunge grind on both of these. That's how it's done, guys. That is how it is done. Look at that. All that separation. You will never worry about running into the plunge grind on this guy. Love to see that. And these are full flat grinds too, all the way up to the spine. I don't think you'll have a problem clamping it in your fixed angle knife sharpening systems, but I will say I can tell that these are, there's no way that this is a belt sharpened edge. This has to be a stone sharpened edge. If it is a belt sharpened edge, it was done from tip to heel maybe at an angle. Man, it's just so, it feels like a stone sharp edge, and the scratch pattern leads me to believe that it is done on a stone of some sort. The Kydex sheaths, which one is this one for? Gotta make sure I'm grabbing the right one. I think this one's the drop point, and then this one's the sheep's foot. Very, very, like I said, super lightweight. This is something you can easily carry, and you can obviously put a different type of like alti clip or something if you want to carry it in the pocket. Great push-off point. Nice, you know, it's got a good amount of tension. It's no rattle, no tap or anything like that. Nice push-off point. It's not super clicky, but it does mush in. I guess it has a, it's all right. But, you know, just with the light dutiness of this and the affordability to have a, I believe, a USA made handmade knife is just absolutely amazing. Shout out to him. No negatives. That's a really cool. The only thing is I'd love to get like an alti clip, but that's, I can understand for that price why you can't add that in. Next is one that I've actually unboxed before. This is the Merit. Now the Merit is, again, whoa, slicey. Look at that. Now this one is 70 thousandths there, 74 thousandths. If you measure up the blade, you're getting down in the 60 thousandths. Behind the edge thickness is 11 thousandths. It is so laser beam thin, full flat grind. And this is the thing, because with hollow grinds and flat grinds, like what's got better cutting geometry, a flat grind or a hollow? Well, technically it is a flat grind. Technically it is. If the blade is thin enough and it's thin enough behind the edge and it has a good taper, that is going to be typically the best slicers. Because with a hollow grind, you have a little bit of resistance getting over the spine thickness that it has to widen up to. Now, the reason why hollow grinds in many cases are slicier is because they can have like the same thickness blade as what normal flat grinds are, but they can dip down and cut out the geometry throughout the blade, making it much thinner throughout, you know, the blade. Also with sharpening, hollow grinds tend to stay the same thickness. So when you sharpen it, it's not getting thicker and thicker and thicker. You know, at least it takes a little bit longer, or sometimes quite a bit longer. However, with something like this, it's the same way. You're gonna be able to sharpen this and it's barely gonna get thicker. Like you can sharpen this a bunch of times and it's barely going to get any bigger behind the edge or any thicker behind the edge. 14C28N, once again, amazing steel for this type of geometry. All the steel so far have been Nitro VERO 14C, which is perfect for thin geometry. So they picked a great steel. Easy to heat treatment steel too, by the way. That's really good. We have purple micarta scales. I know it comes in a bunch of different color options. We have a reversible deep carry clip, not inset, but it does have flat screws, and T8 hardware all the way around. Good access to the liner lock, and it is very smooth. What a phenomenal detent. CUTLERY, we already know they do an incredible job. If you want affordability, the best affordability, you're gonna want something from Cut or, you know, CUTLERY. There's some other companies, but they're doing it very, very good. Very well, I should say. Steel liner lock, internal stop pin, love to see that. Ceramic caged bearings, drop shut action, nice sharp control and plunge grind. The plunge ends right there. You have tons of, it's so thin behind the edge. What a banger, no negatives at all. Next, really quick, I have these new knives from Hot Knives. I have recently featured these on the channel. We actually did a live sharpening video on this. These are in 14C, and again, they are incredibly thin knives, thin blades, 83 thousandths with the blade stock thickness, and that's at the thickest portion. It gets even thinner. And then 10 thousandths behind the edge. Both of these have the exact same geometry. And technically, they basically are a very similar blade shape as well as far as how they're gonna perform. You can use them for utility cutting, slicing on flat surfaces, obviously slicing, which these things are gonna be such a good slicer. With these ergonomics, we have slightly contoured G10 here, very, very comfortable in the hand, and then it has very, very little weight, like, because there's no milling in here, but there's no liners except for right here, just that little liner right there. The rest is solid G10, and then the deep carry inset clip that's not reversible. They also did the same thing here, except for they didn't inset the clip, but they didn't put a reversible clip. And again, you know, it's just solid G10 with this thin layer of carbon fiber over the surface. Very, very, very lightweight. This is definitely something not for hard use, but they do have solid locking systems because these are strong locking systems. Great action. You can use the whole deployment or the thumb studs on this one. And then this one is just thumb stud action. Like I said, man, both of these super lightweight, extremely slicey. If you're looking for something that's a budget, affordable knife that's just a high performance slicer that's also super lightweight, this is definitely one to check out. By the way, like always, I will have everything linked down in the description. Then last, we have a chef knife from CUTLERY, or a kitchen knife. Super thin geometry, of course, 14C, 28N. All the knives from this video have been in Nitro VERO 14C. We have about 80 thousandths, 78 thousandths blade stock thickness. Behind the edge, 10 thousandths. This thing is super slicey and it is long. So this is gonna be great for basically just like a multi-purpose knife in the kitchen or, you know, wherever you're gonna do food prep at. G10 handle, full tang. The G10 is glued on, and you have this little space right there that prevents you from cutting your finger when you pick up the knife, because when it tapers out the other way, and I've done this a couple times, you might graze right there with your finger and you'll cut it. With such thin geometry like this, and people tend to put low angle edges on these, they're just absolutely nightmarishly sharp. So this actually protects your fingers, and it gives you a good spot to cut down on the cutting board without your fingers hitting the board. We do have a light satin finish, very sharp edge. I like it, man. Very comfortable in the hand, great pinch grip. Feel like you have a ton of control, lots of length with just incredible laser beam geometry. This is definitely something that will serve just about anybody in their kitchen. Now, The G10, I don't see any problems with it being glued on the way it is. If it ever pops off, you can always just get adhesive and glue it back on. I doubt that'll happen. This is not something you're gonna wanna put in the dishwasher though. Make sure you do hand wash it. But yeah, what a badass knife. So there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.